going.
Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob. Let's continue on with those running backs.
Oh, yes, we are running it back with running backs.
Oh, bringing it back to the running back.
After having a unexpected episode yesterday talking about the addition of Russell Wilson. I'm going to give you guys a little heads up on this because I feel like this has been coming up a lot in Giants content creators today. A lot of people have been talking about Russell Wilson, his press conference. I'm not talking about that, guys. Point blank. We're not doing that because let's be honest, it's all BS. It's all smoke and mirrors. Russell Wilson is about the best person to put in front of a microphone in a room of people as there is in the NFL. Point blank. And I know he says some stupid stuff on social media, like the unlimited thing and all that kind of stuff. But if you put him in front of a room of reporters, that man will tell you everything and nothing all at once. Point blank.
Should be a politician.
He literally called Jalen Hyatt untapped potential. Like, seriously, untapped potential. If you think he believes that, then we have a cup for you to pee in real quick, okay? Like, that's point blank where we're at. Because that's not the case. He's just not that good. So, but like I said, so we're not going to get really into that kind of stuff there. If you want to watch it, the Giants have it on their website. By all means, watch it if you feel like watching it. But I really don't think you learn anything from it, to be very frank with you guys. So instead, we're going to focus on continuing going over our draft board here, talking about the rest of the running backs. We got 16 more running backs to go over today, guys. Plus, we're going to give you our final breakdown on the top 30 and where we rank them all. Because, yeah, guys, this is a running back draft. I feel like you're all going to get a running back. Everybody's going to get a running back.
Go for it. You get a running back. You get a running back. You get a running back.
Now, you do have to pay the taxes on that running back. Just fair warning.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's what it's going to be. Think about 30 running backs we're talking about this draft. We usually don't go past like 20. There's going to be that many running backs drafted this year. I'm telling you, it's going to be insane. So, all right, let's get right into it, guys. We've got a lot to go over here. So, first off, we got Treveyon Henderson from Ohio State.
Ohio.
Second guy we got from Ohio State here. One of only two schools, I believe, in this that we have two running backs. 22 years old, 5'10", 208 pounds, from Hopewell, Virginia. In 21, 1,248 yards, 15 touchdowns. Second team All Big Ten. 22, 571 yards, 6 touchdowns. This past year, 23, I should say, 926 yards, 11 touchdowns, first team All Big Ten. Now this past year, 16 games, 144 carries, 1,016 yards, 7.1 yards per carry, 10 touchdowns, 27 catches, 284 yards, 1 touchdown, 88.4 PFF grade, and third team All Big Ten. Seems a little crazy to get 1,000 yards to be third team.
Yeah.
That's just a little crazy there, but really patient, good vision there, are explosive. Like, this is like, we're talking about guys who don't have home run threats or do have home run threat kind of speed. Like, that's the two categories are. You either got it or you don't. He got it. This is a guy that definitely has a home run threat. He's also great at change of direction. You know, that shiftiness that we're used to back in the good old Saquon days there. Great, running back overall. Does have some balance issues, though. It's also had a couple injury issues the last couple of seasons there when he's been asked to run the ball a little bit more. So to keep an eye on there. I think he's that guy who's going to be a really good a really good running back in this league. but I do think he's going to be a guy that you want to have as part of a system. You don't have to depend on him specifically because of the injury issues. And he could prove me wrong. I mean, look at there's been plenty of guys that come out of college with injury issues that all of a sudden stay healthy in the league somehow. But not as often as the ones that continue getting injured. The only thing knock on him is he's not a great receiver. And it's kind of weird because you expect your home run threat kind of guy to typically be a good receiver. That just typically, for whatever reason, seems to go hand in hand. The fast receivers tend to be good at catching the ball. The strong ones don't tend to be. It's odd how that works out sometimes. I don't see where those two correlate, but they typically do. In this case, they don't. I would say he's going to be probably a third-round grade overall on him. I think someone's going to take him, see the potential, put him with another back so he doesn't get too much of an injury risk continuing. And I think he's going to be a good player. I don't think he's going to be a great player, but he's going to be a good player in this league, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And like you said, I think he's going to work well with a system, or on a system that has a run like like who knows, like Ravens take him because Derrick Henry's going to play for another year, maybe two.
Yeah, and we've been saying that a couple of these guys. Like it'd be great for the Ravens to pick up somebody to be kind of in the shadow of Derrick Henry for a little bit there, and in a year or two take over. So maybe that is where he goes. But like I said, good player, I think, but not great. But they all can't be, and that's why you got a third-round grade guy, not a first-round grade guy. They all can't be Genty,
Yeah.
If they all were, we'd be very excited by this draft. That's for damn sure.
Crazy draft.
Next up, we have Devin Neal, not to confuse with Evan Neal, the bust tackle. Devin Neal. That'd be hilarious if the Giants drafted him just for the name.
Yeah.
Evan Neal's blocking for Devin Neal. At Kansas.
He can't get himself out of his own way.
Oh. At Kansas, not our Kansas, but actual Kansas. 21 years old, 5'11", 215 pounds. Went to high school in Lawrence, Kansas. 21, he's 797 yards, 8 touchdowns. 22, 1,090 yards and 9 touchdowns. 23, 1,280 and 16 touchdowns. Second team all Big 12. This past year, 219 carries, 1,266 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, 16 touchdowns, 24 catches, 254 yards and a touchdown, 87.9 PFF grade, and second team all Big 12. Woof. It's a mouthful of stats there. Here's what I do like about this kid, and it's kind of interesting in our perspective as Giants fans specifically. He shined in a really, really bad offense, guys. Like really bad. We're going to talk about another player later on that point blank people blame a lot of the team around him, and he couldn't shine through it. This kid did. And it makes me wonder, is he better than what the tape even shows because he just didn't have help around him? That's possible.
It leads you to believe something like that.
Yeah. He's instinctive, agile, patient with very good vision. Doesn't have that home run threat speeds. That's one big knock against him there for those who like it. He also isn't great in pass protection, so he's going to need a little work on that. As we said last time, guys, we went ahead and the thing listed half of the guys in part 1 needed pass protection help. That's a typical thing coming into the league. I think he's going to be like a round 3, round 4 kind of guy is where I got him at. And like I said, he's a guy that could be better than we think because of the system he had around him and the talent, for lack thereof, that he had around him.
Yeah, 100%. He's going to be the guy that you're going to get in the 4th round. It's going to be the steal of the draft. He's going to be,
He's got that potential to be that kind of running back that just comes out of nowhere and does really good. I mean, it happens every year. Bucky Irving last year and Tyrone Tracy Jr. last year. Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round a couple of years ago. I mean, you always get these late round, mid-round running backs that come out of nowhere and sometimes almost outperform the guys that are day 1 picks even sometimes. It's crazy. As Jay says, fans are going to go crazy if we draft Devin Neal. Shane won't do it. Neal is a nice player, though. Running back. Of course, we know you mean the running back. You don't mean the offensive guard, tackle, whatever the hell he's going to be this past year now. I don't know. I don't know what his official role is going to be. We'll find out. All righty. Now we run to an enigma wrapped up in a secret, smothered. And I can't mess it. I messed it up. What's the phrase? I had the phrase down. It's a enigma wrapped up in a secret, smothered in secret sauce. There we go. I got it. Woo. Brashard Smith. What are you saying?
If I say you kept that down and hush hush.
I almost got that there. At Brashard Smith at a SMU, 5'10", 196 pounds, 21 years old, from Richmond Heights, Florida. Now, here's why I say he's a hard to read kind of player right now. He is a wide receiver till last year. Is that familiar, guys?
I was about to say.
But he didn't even have
that's
2
right.
years. Tyron Tracy at least had 2 years. He had 1 year as a running back, and that's it. He was a wide receiver at Miami. He rushed for 23 yards in 21, 22 in 22, and 132 yards and a touchdown in 23. But again, rushing as a wide receiver. He goes off to SMU this past year. Like I said, becomes a running back, 235 carries, 1,332 yards, 5.7 yards per carry, 14 touchdowns, 39 catches, 327 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 90.3 PFF grade. Now, what makes this difficult, though, is what school he went to? SMU. Not exactly a top-tier school. I'm not trying to knock it. There's a lot worse than SMU. Don't get me wrong. They wouldn't have given me a football scholarship. That's for damn sure. But it's not like a top tier. Like he was when he was at Miami. I could say it's one of the more top tier. ACC's got some good talent coming in year out there. But now him going to SMU, do I trust those numbers? Or do I go, okay, some of this is probably a little bit inflated because of what the competition was he was playing. But some of this is also got to put in consideration that this is his first season as a running back. So It's really hard to determine what you think is going to be the future for this kid. But I do think someone's going to see that raw potential. Someone's going to sit there and say, you know what? He did that in his first year. Imagine with a couple years later what he would do.
Yeah, with some guidance, a little more guidance, running down the fields. Because he definitely was a player that could get the yak yards as a receiver, and he's proven that as a run back. Just put the ball in his hands, let him go.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good receiver. Obviously, he was a wide receiver. He's also a great outside runner. Again, very raw, though. He's actually been adding weight, too. Keep in mind, the running back position and the wide receiver position has different needs as far as weight class there. So he's 196 pounds right now, 5'10". He needs another 10 pounds probably to hit ideal size for a running back, if not 20 pounds. He could probably do it. He's been adding weight, but like I said, that's kind of a development thing, because then you got to find out, does he lose some speed by doing that? Because that's part of what makes him special as well. So again, you got to look at that part of it there. The big reason I want to see him add weight, though, is because he needs to add that strength. He needs to hit the weight room, basically, because he has trouble with pass blocking purely from a strength standpoint, because he's wide receiver size with linebackers coming at him. That's an issue. And it's also for better interior work there. Like I said, he's a great outside runner. If you look at all of his big plays, for the most part, it's either the wide open gaping hole that anybody could make the run. Not everybody could have made the right cut and make the home run at that point. I'm going to throw that be there clear. But anybody could have had a decent run with it. Or an outside run. And he's got a little better between the tackles, and that's going to come with the strength, I think. So, like I said, interesting prospect. I think someone's going to take him probably early day 3. 4 or 5 range at that point there. And I think someone's going to go, okay, you know what? Project, you're like running back 3 this year. We're just going to train you up, and next year is when you're really going to start seeing him.
Yeah, it's put in the backfield when you get close in the red zone for here and there. Yeah, late in the game.
What about red zone? Depending where you want to go, what kind of play you want to go. If you want to do a third down back kind of scenario for him like that, sure. But
late in the game.
Like I said, he's going to be someone that's going to get a chance to show what he can do in the NFL. I'm just not so sure if he's not going to have to sit for a year before he shows that. Let him develop. Let him develop the right way. Don't force him out there. So, all right. Another enigma in this draft here. I won't even try to use any kind of fancy phrases this time. Another enigma is Marcus Yarns out of Delaware. And I got to say, listen up. If you work for the University of Delaware, God damn it, you guys need better film out there. So I found a couple of guys who put out some film on him so we can get a good feel for him. But there's not a lot out there. Let's be very frank, guys. And it makes it very difficult to gauge someone's talent and football ability if I can't watch film. So, like I said, Watched some, but did not get a chance to watch the one we did in the rest of the guys. That's for sure. 5'11", 183 pounds, 23 years old, from Salisbury, Maryland. Not to be confused with Salisbury Steak.
I was going to say, Salisbury Steak.
In 22, 478 yards, 2 touchdowns. 23, 937 yards and 15 touchdowns. This past year, 9 games, 133 carries, 844 yards, 6.3 yards per carry average, 6 touchdowns, 17 catches, 297 yards, and an 84.9 PFF grade. Tough back, though. Like, that's one thing you see for a kid that's 183 pounds, which is, again, really, really light for a running back. He is taking on hits. He's taking on guys with no problem.
He's a little scrappy.
Yeah. Now, you got to wonder what that's going to do injury-wise in the long term. That's for damn sure. It might be a very short career for him. But he's fast. He's got good ball security. He is slow in lateral moves, which is, again, for a guy who's got a little bit of speed to him like that, that's straight down speed where he's got to start making him shift in side by side. He's having a little issues with that. He's also not very creative. You tell him where to go, he goes there. That's what he does.
Yeah.
So, not the guy who's going to improvise there, so to speak, when things break down. And I think he's going to be another day 3 pick. I think he's going to be a guy that someone's going to take a shot on. But I feel like he's going to be that guy that either going to be. Listen, let me be very clear on this. When you come from University of Delaware, you have to be good to go ahead and get people interested in you. You're not playing Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, like some of the Ohio State, some of these bigger schools like that. You have to do something really special to get people interested in you. And he, like I said, I got 844 yards. Doesn't sound that special, but 6.3 yards per carry, another 300 yards at that point on the receiving. I can see where people would see that. And like I said, his film work wasn't bad. I think he has a potential to have a role in the NFL, but he also has the potential to get there, be way out of his league, and be out before the training camp is even over.
Or be on special teams.
It could be, but the lateral movement is what I have a problem with. For special teams, there's usually going to be a lateral movement you want. So, and he's not a guy that's you're going to run down there and be like, oh, you go the coverage team, 183 pounds.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what to think of him overall because there's not, like I said, there's not a ton of tape on him. But what I do see tells me enough that if somebody gets a chance and needs a running back late in the draft, wants to take a shot at him, not the worst move in the world. You just got to know it's going to be either a role player guy or a guy that's out quickly. I'd almost be curious to see if he just doesn't get drafted and you can pick him up and put him in a rookie training camp and see what happens. But I do think someone's going to take a shot on him. It's going to be late. It's going to be probably the 6th, 7th round.
I was going to say they're going to be a late 3rd day, 6th rider.
Yeah. And listen, half those times those guys don't make it anyway. So, you could do a lot worse than trying a guy out that you see something special that's coming from a smaller school that you want to see if it translates. You really could. So, all right. Next up, we got Kyle Manungai. And
Jersey.
It's Jersey time. Jersey. Rutgers. 5'9", 209 pounds, 23 years old, from Roseland, New Jersey. Jersey. And listen, first off, can I say this? I love talking about Rutgers guys. There's something about Rutgers players. Like, am I right? They tend to be like just really scrappy players. Like, they don't get a lot of stars from Rutgers, but you just get good, solid, scrappy players.
Because they have to drive a 287 to go to school.
2020's first year, didn't have a single yard. 21, 236 yards, 4 touchdowns. 22, 445 and 2 touchdowns. 23, 1,262 yards and 8 touchdowns. This past season, 11 games, 256 carries, 1,279 yards. It's a 5.0 yards per carry average there. 13 touchdowns. 14 catches, 75 yards and a touchdown, 77.3 PFF grade. So PFF definitely didn't like his work too much, that's for sure. One thing I love about the story of him is the fact that he had not a lot of opportunities. He really didn't when he was coming out of high school. Like, a lot of the offers he got were Ivy League schools and things of that nature. Which, first off, kudos to him, because if you got to improve, you got a chance to get to Ivy League school, means you're not a moron. Protect the helmet.
Yeah.
So,
It's in the helmet.
But he didn't get a lot of offers there, and he just he wanted to go to Rutgers again. Jersey guy goes to Rutgers, doesn't get promised a lot, and earns his way. Like literally earns his way the first 3 years. Doesn't do too much, and just keeps on going at it. There's something, like I said, scrappiness, man. There's something about scrappy Rutgers players. I just don't know if what I see on tape is special enough, to be honest with you guys, though. He's got good balance. He's agile. He's usually pretty patient. But he lacks the home run threat. He's not a good receiver. And while I say he is patient, again, it's usually patient. Every so often, he just makes these dumb moves and just runs early, improvises, and tries to bounce outside, kind of Saquon style at that point. And I kept seeing that a couple times a game when I watched him. I didn't like that. So I can see why people are interested in him. I don't see enough for me to go, this is the guy I'd want to have.
Yeah,
I do think someone else. I don't think so. I think someone's going to take him, I think 3rd, 4th round. I think someone's going to see something they like. Like I said, I
want to go with that. I said I wouldn't go that early in the draft. But you're right. He's scrappy. That's something you can teach a lot of different stuff on the field, different movements. You can't teach scrappy. You can't teach that, you go get him mentality.
As Andy says, Ray Rice was scrappy. Oh, we're not getting into that.
Oh, it got him in trouble
Rutgers RB. Yeah, he was more than scrappy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
He was scrappy in the boxing ring too.
Let's change that topic here. Jaden Blue. We got to talk about Jaden Blue. For whatever reason,
Jaden.
Texas is also typically a school that's pretty good for running backs here, and this is the latest year. Jaden Blue out of Texas, 21 years old, originally from Houston, Texas. And guys, I feel like everybody that I've looked at as far as what others have thought of next, I do look at that kind of stuff when we're doing this. It's not necessarily a determination, but it's something to kind of validate what we're saying, like, okay, do other people think this too? Or are they seeing something we're missing? I saw a lot of people love him or hate him. This is that love-hate kind of running back. 5'9", 196 pounds, 21 years old, like I said. In 22, he only had 33 yards, 398 yards, and 3 touchdowns. This past year, 15 games, 134 rushes, 730 yards, 5.4 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns, 42 catches, 368 yards, 6 touchdowns, and a 73.1 PFF grade. So obviously PFF is on the side I did not like. What I think people are intrigued by, though, is his speed. He's a really fast guy, and he's a really good receiver. He's good in open field. The kind of things that makes a highlight reel. And again, I feel like people fall for highlight reels. And I get it, because I'm not going to name any names when he was specifically. But let's be honest here. We spent hours, guys, getting each one of these episodes together. We don't spend 5 minutes, looking at, okay, let's see here. Let's write the stats. Okay, 30 seconds of highlights. We're done. No, we're watching a lot of film on these guys. And some people just don't do that. They look at a 2-second highlight reel on TikTok and go, okay, I know what kind of player he is now. And if you look at that for Jaden Blue, you're going to go, wow, this kid's dynamic. Point blank, you're going to say, this kid is dynamic. I don't see dynamic on every play. I see flashes of dynamics.
Yeah.
I see abilities to be dynamic. I don't see it consistently enough. I don't know. There's things, like I said, there's things I like. I'm not down on him. I just don't think he's going to be as good as the people that love him think he's going to be. I think he's a day 3 pick. I think somebody's going to try to turn him into a potentially a 3rd down back if he can improve his pass protection, because that's very, very bad. He's also going to have to do a little better on ball security, because he's definitely got some fumbling issues. His balance isn't necessarily so great at times either. Like, he gets hit and it's like he just falls over. That's not a good trade as running back. No. And again, that's probably the size. Again, he's a little teeny tiny guy. He's, like I said, anytime you got an under 200-pound running back, I'm always going to question some of that. He definitely dances around a little too much too as well. But again, I think if you can develop into a 3rd down back, maybe a guy who does, a little special team action like you alluded to before, because he does have that shiftiness, that home run threat. Maybe you try to make him to a returner. I don't know. I feel like, again, there's a chance he does something and finds a role in the NFL. I don't think he's nearly as good as some of the last guys we've had coming out of Texas. The last couple of years, Texas has just been a hotbed of running backs. And I don't think that's where it is now.
No.
Andy says, who goes into PFF grades for running backs? I always wonder about competition. We give PFF grades for everybody because some people love it. Take it for what it is. Take it for what it is. It's what I do like about it, though, is they give you a little more than just the stats. They're actually looking at the plays and determining where you're at. I do like PFF. I don't think it's the end all, but I do like it. All righty.
Gives you an idea.
It's another tool. That's all. Let's see here. We got two more guys, and this time for halftime here. Ooh, we are just going through quicker than I expected we would. Next one, Taj Brooks. Not to be confused with Garth Brooks from Texas Tech, 5'10", 230 pounds. Actually, that's a good nickname for him, Thunder, and the Thunder Rolls there. He's a big boy. Like I said, 230 pounds, 22 years old, from Manor, Texas. In 2020, 255 yards, 4 touchdowns. 21, 568 yards, 7 touchdowns. 22, 691 yards and 7 touchdowns. 23 was his breakout year. 1,538 yards, 10 touchdowns, first team all Big 12. Then this past year, 11 games, 286 carries, 1,505 yards. It's a 5.3 yard per carry average, 17 touchdowns, 28 catches, 199 yards, and a touchdown. 83.3 PFF grade. Just had to pause that one. Yeah. Second team all Big 12. Guys, listen. Rob and I have said all along, we want to pair Tyrone Tracy Jr. with a big back. There's a lot of them in this draft. And there's a decent amount to go over today. This is definitely one that fits that bill. Good size, power runner. He's also great at pass protection, which is one spot where Tracy is lacking right now. So I kind of really like him actually as a mix to go with Tracy. He really keeps the legs moving. When you watch film of this guy, he runs into a pile of people and just keeps those legs moving. And every so often just happens to pop out the other end.
It's like the energizing bunny.
Yeah.
He's going and going and going.
Now, his agility and speed are lacking. Call it what it is. He's not great in the open field. He's that big, tough running back. That's what he is. If you need a guy to be a short yardage back, a big change of pace back, a beat the hell out of you in the fourth corner kind of back, this is that guy. And I think that's where his role is going to be. I think he's going to be that kind of role player in the NFL. Another guy I think is going to be day 3. To be honest, guys, we have a lot of day 3 guys today. I think this is going to be another day 3 kind of guy. And I think someone's going to carve out a role for him that makes sense based on his abilities. I think he's going to have a decent career as that kind of short yardage back.
Yep. Pretty much just, be the bull rush right in there.
Yeah. Listen, it worked for Brandon Jacobs for how many years?
Yeah.
Had a really good career. The Giants should know all too well how well this role could be in the right spot.
Yeah.
I said him and Tracy would be a nice duo, I think.
I was say compliments Tracy very well.
Yeah.
Thunder and lightning.
Thunder and lightning.
Bring the thunder.
The thunder from down under?
Ooh.
Listen, I'm not
from
one
Dr.
for
Tuesday.
I'm not one for Outback, but I do enjoy a good thunder from down under. It is good. All right, last one here before we get to our break. This is a big one, actually, name-wise at least. Not necessarily production-wise, but name-wise, this is a pretty big one. Donovan Edwards, who got a lot of press last year during the whole Michigan run to the national championship there. A guy that, quite frankly, has a lot of talent. I don't think we've ever fully seen, kind of on the field here the way things have gone. I think he's ever even reached the potential he has. 6'1", 212 pounds, 22 years old, from West Bloomfield, Michigan. In 21, 174 yards, 3 touchdowns. 22, 991 yards, 7 touchdowns. 23, 5 touchdowns, 497 yards. Had to switch it up one time on you. 24, 12 games, 128 carries, 589 yards, 4.6 yards per carry average, 4 touchdowns, 8 catches, 83 yards, 1 touchdown, and 73.2 PFF grade. This is one of those guys that if you watch him on a good game, you go, whoa, this guy must be really good. And then you watch him 2 or 3 of the games, and it's like he just didn't do anything. He is the big play guy, though. He does make a lot of big plays, and this is why, like I said, he got a lot of hype during that national championship run for Michigan in the 23 season. Because when he was healthy in some of the bigger games, you definitely saw a couple big plays by him there. Just that prototype speed and size. Again, home run threat, very shifty. He's also a good receiver. But he was also never a leading back. You know, he was never the bell cow kind of back. And that always makes me question, can he handle that kind of role? Or is he going to be just a role player?
Yeah, he's probably going to be a guy that's put into a cast, put into a group system, if you will.
Yeah. And another guy that very well could be that guy that you want to put as like a guy to carve out a role in special teams, along with being like a third back on a team to start off. And if you get better than that, great. The team's not going to complain if all of a sudden, oh, this kid's too good to be as a third back. But I think that's where he's going to start off. I think he's going to be a day 3 pick, another day 3 pick guy. And I think he's going to be a guy that has the potential to do good things in this league. But it's not a high potential, if that makes sense. Like it wouldn't completely shock me if he became a 1,000-yard rusher in the league. But it also wouldn't shock me at all if he never does.
Yeah, or barely gets past 500 yards.
Yeah, I mean, listen, honestly, if he's a guy that's 500 yards a season, that's a nice career. All power to him. That'd be very good for him, I think.
Yeah,
I think he's more likely
Especially
the guy that. I think he's more like the guy that gets like 300 yards a season for a couple seasons out of the league. That's honestly what I think.
Yeah.
You know,
you could be right.
I may be right. I may be crazy. All right, guys.
You are just the lunatic that everyone's looking for.
I am. Let's pay the bills real quick. Then we'll be back with our second half of. We got 8 more running backs to go, guys. Oh my gosh, so many running backs.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. Buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, guys. And of course, you can also support the show by doing super chats on YouTube. You can do stars on Facebook, or you can do the free way. You can go ahead and hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button, hit that bell, ring that bell on YouTube there. Subscribe on any audio podcast platform you might be listening to as well. So appreciate you guys' help and support with the show here. All right, let's get right into it, guys. We got another 8 more to go here. Oof, so many running backs. Next up, Corey Kiner. And Cincinnati every so often has a decent player coming out of it here. It's one of those like schools you don't hear every year, but every so often. And this is that every so often now. 5'9", 210 pounds, 23 years old, went to high school in St. Bernard, Ohio, was named Ohio's Mr. Football.
Bless you.
Ooh, excuse me. Ooh.
Mr. Football.
I'm allergic to Mr. Football. No, was named Mr. Football in Ohio in 2020 as a senior. Went to LSU to start in 21. Had 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then goes and transfers over to Cincinnati. 22, 362 yards, 5 touchdowns. 23, 1,047 and 5 touchdowns. And then in 24, 12 games, 204 carries, 1,153 yards, the 5.7 yard per carry average, 16 catches, 111 yards. This is an interesting prospect in the fact of what is it you're looking for in a prospect? What is it you like about a prospect? Now, different people look for different things. Let's be very frank on that. What I like personally is I like to see growth as a player, and I like to see natural abilities. That's what scares me about Corey Kiner. He's not overly strong. He's not overly fast. But what he is he's extremely sound fundamentally. Now, I can teach fundamentals if I'm a football coach. Like, that'd be my mentality. I can teach you some things you're not doing right. I can't teach you to be faster. I can't teach you to be stronger.
Okay.
Maybe okay, I get you in the weight room, get you a little stronger, send you to track, maybe get you a little bit faster. But you're limited to what you can naturally do within your body. If that makes sense. You know, you can't just make anybody a track star all of a sudden. If that was the case, Rob and I'd be playing football right now. I'd be retired. Actually, you'd be retired now too. We're so old.
Push it.
We're old. So this would scare me if I'm looking at him as a prospect in that regard. Is he's fundamentally there. One of the most fundamentally sound running backs in this draft, to be frank with you. You know, good vision, strong football IQ, he's agile, he's got good balance. He lacks home run speed. He's also, as we said, got 16 catches in the season, guys. And so not much in the receiving department. I don't know if I see a path to him succeeding in the NFL, to be honest. I have him as like a 6th, 7th round grade. And I think he's somebody that you may see surprise me because he is sound fundamentally, and you put him in the right run scheme with the right offensive line. Maybe he does something because if you have a hole for him and he can get to it, he'll find it. I just think the ceiling's kind of low on him because of that.
Yeah.
You know what award that gets me, right? The Debbie Downer Award. The
Well,
Debbie Downer. I said I gotta call it realistic. That's where I'm at. I mean, do you disagree, Rob? Am I crazy or?
No, I mean, Mr. Football himself sometimes will not be the incredible Sunday night football guy, but like you said, he's got good vision down into the hole, but he's just, we keep saying hole. It's terrible, but it's like he doesn't have the talents to be the modern day running back.
No, I said he doesn't. He physically doesn't have it. I feel like
No, and yeah, and it's like it's one thing if you're super talented and you didn't have the size or the strength, but he's talented, but he's not like super talented. Like he's probably going to be a late 6th round pick, probably maybe even in the 7th, and he's going to be a practice squad guy who might be your 3rd running back on the team.
Yeah, it's a 4.57 40 speed, guys. Like that's not good. A 4.44 shuttle. I'm looking at it right now. His height's a little bit of an issue. He's got really tiny hands too. Like he's got Kenny Pickett hands. Well, and it's funny, you don't think of hands when it comes to running back, but you need big hands to hold onto the ball.
I was about to say, I mean, you're not going up in the air, 40 yards out of the field trying to catch the ball, but at the same time, you have to be able to place it and not drop it, because guess what happens when everyone's trying to tackle you? They're trying to reach in and pull it out.
Yeah. Now you said pull out holes too many times.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along.
Let's get on the next one here. Jaquindon Jackson. And out of Arkansas there. And listen, no offense to his mama. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Your kid is for real. I had to do that. This is a kid that transferred over, another transfer one. Started off at Utah. He's 6'2", 233 pounds, 23 years old, from Dallas, Texas. 21 when he was in Utah. He was still a quarterback. So he was a quarterback in high school, went to be a quarterback at Utah. He was the 3rd quarterback on their roster and decided to swap it up at that point. Became a running back at Arkansas there. 22, 531 yards, 9 touchdowns. 23, 797, 4 touchdowns. 24, 10 games, 149 carries, 790 yards, 5.3 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns. Be very clear that 149 carries, 15 touchdowns. When more than 10% of your runs end in the end zone, you are doing something right. Let me be very clear on that one.
Yeah.
13 catches, 139 yards. Powerful runner. Really great in short yardage and red zone. Weird, too, is that he's a decent-sized guy. 233 yards. Again, a little on the bigger side for a running back there. But he's a little more slippery and difficult to tackle than you would think agility-wise. Like, he will much better in the open field than you think a guy at 233 pounds would be. He does lack the home run speed as you expect of that kind of size. He's also slow to react sometimes in running. Like if something changes and he sees it, it's almost like you see his brain kind of hesitate for a moment before he makes that move. That's a very dangerous thing to do in the NFL. Those guys process very quickly. I think a lot of that, though, comes to the fact that he's 30 years a running back. That's part of it. And he's never asked to do much as a receiver. So we really don't know what the potential is there for. This is a guy that I'm telling you, watching film, if you get the chance to get him late day 3 and just pop him in, see what you can do, see what you can teach him, he's got potential. You definitely see it on film. And I'm curious to see what he's going to do, because I feel like this is that guy that can come from nowhere potentially and carve out a role in a team somewhere. Again, not be a star, but carve out a role.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do much. If you're the second back, it goes a long way in a career. You usually have longevity.
Well, it's also, if you can get into the end zone, you will have a job in the NFL.
Yes.
That's a very important role. If you can get into the end zone, you will have a job in the NFL, point blank. So
you stretch out that end zone and get into that hole.
Wow.
You will have a job.
Oh, yes.
Somewhere.
So, yeah, like I said, another day 3 guy there. So, all right. Next up, Phil Maffa out of Clemson. And Clemson, another one of those schools that always just seems to have some running backs coming out of it there. 6'1", 229 pounds, 22 years old. Went to high school in Loganville, Georgia.
Logan.
Yeah. A little Wolverine action there. In 21, 68 yards, 3 touchdowns. 22, 98 yards and 4 touchdowns. So a very slow start to his career. 23, 965 yards, 13 touchdowns. This past year, 14 games, 216 carries, 1,115 yards, 5.2 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns, 21 catches, 103 yards, third team All ACC. He's a big physical back, like I said, 229 pounds. And like I told you, there's a lot of big backs in this draft. It's funny because the last couple of drafts, I feel like we've been talking about guys that are way too small to usually play Pee Wee football, let alone NFL. This has been the year of big backs this year. Really just patient, good vision.
This year.
What was that? Sorry?
So there's some bigger players this year.
Yeah.
To a couple years.
And like I said,
the COVID hump, and all of a sudden, guys are getting beefy again.
This is what happens sometimes too, though. Again, when a couple of running backs succeed in the NFL, and all of a sudden the NFL's looking for running backs, they pop out of the woodworks.
Yeah,
seems to be the way it works sometimes. Like I said, not very agile. He's bad in open field. Here's one thing I got to mention, and it's something that scares me to a degree because it lingered. Had to let it linger. They had to, or they had to let it linger. He had a shoulder injury all year. So we look at his stats, and you probably, like, anybody who's looking at this, probably 5.2 yards per carry at Clemson. That's not that good. He had a shoulder injury and dealt with it all year. Had to have surgery when the season was over. Like, we're talking at the end of September, he had that. And it was a pretty gruesome injury. It wasn't like a minor, like, okay, a little bit here. Is it torn? Is it not torn? Like, no. He messed up and jacked up that shoulder and still played the rest of the year on it.
Yeah.
You got to respect that. That's the heart I want on a team.
Yeah. Kids got hot. Kid.
And it's funny because usually when it's somebody who has that kind of year, I'm like, I don't see what they're seeing. But I'm seeing the fact that he fought through and still had that kind of year. Like, that's impressive. That's better year than most players would have in college football. And he did it with a bum shoulder. And, oh, yeah, when you're a running back, what gets hit every single time? What do you lead with?
That bum shoulder.
That bum shoulder, exactly. So I'm going to give him a ton of credit for that. He is said to be healthy, though. So, now he's supposedly good to go. So that's a good sign there. Another guy I think is a day 3 guy. You're taking a hit on him saying, you know what? Let's see how good he is now when he's healthy. Let's see how much that was the injury. Because he did have, like I said, a good year prior as well, just shy of 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns when he wasn't even the lead back.
Yeah.
So I see potential there, but I also see potential bust. But I love a kid with heart. And this is that kind of kid.
It's definitely worth a look.
Yeah. All righty. Should we talk about the steal of running backs in this draft?
Oh,
I said it. Jarquez Hunter, a guy that I don't think is getting nearly the hype he should be getting for what he did this past year. Oh, hold on, that is not right at all. My notes say he's 5 foot even. He's definitely not 5 foot even. Did I say Spud Webb of football?
Yeah, right.
My God, 5'10". That one is a very important number there. 5'10", 209 pounds, 22 years old, from Philadelphia, Missouri, not Pennsylvania, guys. We can root for him. Named Mr. Football from Mississippi in 2020. 21 starts his college career. 593 yards, 3 touchdowns. 22, 668 and 7 touchdowns. 23, 909 yards and 7 touchdowns. Second team All SEC. This past year, this was his breakout season. 12 games, 187 carries, 1,201 yards. That's a 6.4 yards per carry, guys, in the SEC. Let's be very clear of that. In the SEC, 6.4 yards per carry. Like, I cannot stress that enough. You guys know how much I like to look at who you're playing, not just what your numbers are. Who is it you're playing? And Auburn, again, SEC school, they're playing bigger teams week in, week out, pretty much, guys. That's just life in the SEC. So, we went Alabama, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Georgia, Arkansas, Oklahoma. I mean, you're got good teams you're facing on a regular basis here. Anytime you can get over 6 yards of carry against that, I got to respect it. 8 touchdowns, 21 catches, 155 yards, 1 touchdown, 81.5 PFF grade, and first team All SEC. You know what I love about him, though?
Team. His name.
And no, I mean, it'd be funny if he drafted a Hunter and not the Hunter what he wants, but
yeah,
he's never really been a workhorse, guys. And sometimes I look at that and go, can he be? And that's a legit concern when you don't have it ever seen it. 187 yards in his last year. That's it. We talk about Gentry almost had 300 carries a season for the last 2 years. This kid, for his whole football career, basically all the carries that Gentry did in 1 year. He's fresh.
But also, what you got to look at when you talk about that as well is, does he have the same experience?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
But he's obviously succeeded against, let's be also, better talent than Gentry played against. Now, I'm not trying to say he's better than Gentry. I'm going to be very clear on that. I'm just using that because that's the name people keep bringing up in running back talk, so I have to kind of use him as the comparison there. He's instinctive, though. He knows how to kick it in the second gear when he has to. He's agile. He's got the home run threat. He is bad at pass protection. Again, that's a rookie running back thing. Receiving skills have improved in his time at Auburn, but he still is a work in progress there. Guys, this is the guy that I think is going to go round 3, round 4. That someone's going to go, I got this year's Bucky Irving. I really like him that much. And I watch him, and I see everything I want to see on film there, minus the pass protection.
Yeah.
And again, even the receiving part, again, is not great. 21 catches is not great. But when you watch the film of him, it wasn't asked a lot of him. He seemed a little uncomfortable out there when he was a receiver. And I feel like some of that is the fact that, again, he wasn't asked of him. I think you get him in this position where you train him on it, you work on it, you actually get him in that kind of position. I think he's going to be pretty good. And the beauty of this, and this is going to sound weird, he's bad at pass protection, which is kind of a good thing. It means you can go get yourself a legit third down running back, put them on third downs, use them as one of your main running backs on the first couple of downs. You don't have to throw him out there for the third down. He has a chance to learn. Exactly. Like I said, I think he's going to be a good as like a 1-2 combo with a smart veteran, shifty kind of, running back that could also be your third down back. And eventually he's going to be a complete back, I think, in this league. I really do. Yeah. And I'm always negative. When am I ever positive on anybody?
Just about never, unless it's you.
Here I am being positive. Mark that down.
Yeah.
Mark it down. All righty. Another guy I'm kind of positive about. Ooh, positivity vibes. Jordan James out of Oregon. Oregon. He's been going down the trail, getting dysentery. 5'10", 210 pounds, just turned 21 years old. 22 his first year, 189 yards, 5 touchdowns. 23, 759 yards, 11 touchdowns. This past season, 14 games, 233 carries, 1,267 yards, 5.4 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns. That's a lot of touchdowns. 26 catches, 209 yards, 86.2 PFF grade, second team All Big Ten. This kid literally had 31 touchdowns and 386 carries at Oregon. That's a decent percentage there. It's a very, very decent percentage. And he comes out of a school that, let's be frank, is known for smaller, receiving, speedy running backs. And that's not what he was at all. Completely different change of pace for him. Strong burst, patient for lanes to open, stronger than his size would suggest. Again, 210, he plays like a 225 running back all day long. Good ball security, bad at pass protection. We got that little issue again. Lacks as a receiver, and good speed, but not great speed. Here's the biggest knock on I keep seeing whenever I see people talking about him, as evaluating him as a talent. I feel like he had a really great offensive line in Oregon, and he did. And people are questioning whether or not he can succeed without that line. But again, Bucky Irving. Like, don't you think Bucky Irving succeeding the way he did makes you go, okay, well, maybe it is legit what you're seeing there in Oregon?
You would think so. But, I mean, it is a legit concern. How many players, get drafted, go to a place that has a great offensive line? Looks better than what they were in college, and then gets traded somewhere else, big money, and it becomes a bust.
Yeah. I feel like this kid's going to be decent. I don't think great. Decent.
He's got the potential.
I think round 4, round 5, where I got him at, which is the same spot that Tracy was picked up last year, same spot that Irving was picked up last year. Can he be the next Bucky Irving? I don't think quite that, but I think he's a guy that could do 500-600 yards a season.
He's the kind of player that goes to like the Chiefs or something.
The Chiefs love picking those late round running backs.
Yeah,
Pacheco's, they love him. They love him.
Yeah, get him cheap. Let him do the work, and 3 to 4 years later, get him for another.
Oh yeah, keep on changing him out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, guys, we got 3 more to go. Damian Martinez. I know that's a guy that a lot of people have been high on. We talked some of the mock drafts and all. Interesting. One of the guys who moved over to Miami the last year. And it's weird. Miami, look at what they had this past season. And I feel like in a couple of years, we're going to look at Miami and go, how did they not win a championship or something with this roster? Like, they had a lot of good players on this team. Damian Martinez is one of them. Like I said, from Miami, 6 foot even, 217 pounds, 21 years old, from Louisville, Texas. Started his career at Oregon State, 982 yards, 7 touchdowns to his first team, all Pac-12, Pac-12 Offensive Freshman of the Year. 23, 1,185 yards, 9 touchdowns, first team, all Pac-12 again. Then moves off to Miami for his last year here. 24, 13 games, 159 carries, 1,002 yards, 6.3 yards per carry, 10 touchdowns, 17 catches, 204 yards. So he's now succeeded at 2 different schools. 2 different schools, by the way, that are in bigger conferences and face decent competition.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not getting enough attention for what he should get for what he's accomplished, because he succeeded all 3 years in 2 different places. He's a bruiser. Great balance. Legs just flat out don't stop moving. He's that guy that keeps running through the whistle. Not used as a receiver much, but you do see some potential in the times you do see it. Again, this year, 13 games, 17 catches. Not exactly a huge receiving there, but 204 yards out of that. So he's getting, over 10 yards a catch. So you're seeing some potential. This is not a Wandale situation where he's getting 4 or 5 yards per catch. Sorry, Wandale. It's not your fault. It's the offense.
Yeah.
But I had to
Let's
throw it out.
To wind up 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Let him get a plus 10.
I wonder why this didn't work.
Yeah.
Wax home run speed. The ladder agility there's some there, but it's not great. This is going to be that guy. Like we said, there's a couple in this draft that you put together as the tough yardage back, your north-south runner. You mix them up with somebody who's a little more speedy, and you got a nice duo. He's going to be half that duo. That's what he's going to be. And I think early day 3 is where you probably see him, like that 4th round.
That's fair. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he drops to the 5th round because you talk about all this hype and craze over these running backs.
Yep.
Because you're definitely going to have teams that are not going to draft running back early.
Yeah.
No. Have some.
And there's so many of them. Why would you?
Yeah.
Now, Jay asked, who do you see the Gigantes drafting? Even said it with the right accent, I believe. See? Look at that. I know me a little Spanish. I'm going to give you guys a guy next who I think is an interesting target potentially for the Giants if they want to go with a bigger back later in this draft that works well with the roster you have now. And that's Kalel Mullings out of Michigan. Like I said, we had 2 schools here with 2 running backs. This is the second one here, Michigan. 6'2", 226 pounds, 22 years old, from West Roxbury, Missouri. Massachusetts. I'm sorry. Wrong M. Now, no word if the night at the Roxbury was shot there or not. We did ask the Chamber of Commerce. They did not respond. We'll find out, though. Really interesting backstory with him. So he was actually a linebacker. He played mostly linebacker from 2020 to 2022. He switched mid-season in 22 because of injuries. Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards both had injuries, so ended up switching out and becoming a running back. So in 22, he had 31 yards and 3 touchdowns. 23, 222 yards and a touchdown. This past season, 185 carries, 984 yards, 12 touchdowns, 6 catches, 35 yards, 87.3 PFF grade. 3rd team All Big Ten. We look at, again, what we want for the Giants. A big guy, a bruising back. You want a late-round pick because you don't want to waste the early pick necessarily, considering all the holes we have in offense and defense still with the defensive line issues. You don't want to necessarily go ahead and try to get a running back early unless you're going to get a really good one that you have that much confidence in. Here's a guy that needs some time to develop. You got Singletary, you got Tracy. He could be a 3rd running back. He's very raw to the position, but he's a bulldozer. He's got a high football IQ as well, and you really see it in pass protection specifically. And it's interesting because, again, he was a linebacker. He knows defenses. He knows what he's looking at, guys. That's a huge, huge plus as a running back to know defensive schemes and see what's coming.
Yeah.
Good ball security, quick feet. And he's only got 235 career carries, guys. It's about as raw as it gets. He is not a home run threat. So I gotta include that as part of that there. He's not experienced as a receiver. And he did have issues with some of the better defenses Michigan played, like Oregon and Texas specifically. So he's not a slam dunk pick by any means. But what he is a guy you could try to develop. Where if the guys you want are gone later on, it's like the 6th, 7th round, you go, okay, I need to get a running back here. It's the guy to look at. He's also got a lot of experience on special teams. We know they love their special teams, the Giants, this year. He's an intriguing guy, more than intriguing than your average later round running back because of the fact that he just switched over. There's always that potential that he has much more room to develop than your average 22-year-old in the draft.
That's fair. Like you said, he's only played this position for a very short amount of time. Like super raw, like you said. Like this is a guy that's you bring back as your number 2, number 3 running back. Let him develop. Let him plug some holes. And actually, he could be the guy. Well, he's in the windows tonight.
Whoa, hello.
But he's also a guy that he's young, but he knows defenses. So it's something like you get talked to with the other running backs. Like, hey, like this is what they're setting up for. This is what they're going to do. When you're there, maybe look at this.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really like him that much coming into this either. That's the weird thing. And you watch the film, and he's just. You ever watch a running back and go, "This kid's got natural ability, but he has no clue what he's doing"?
Yeah, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. And he's just still trying to figure out what he's doing.
He has no clue. And you still see it. Like I said, I'm intrigued by him. I really am. And he even could be a guy to sit in a practice squad for a year and let him really learn the position. He's that raw. But I feel like there's some potential there. That's for damn sure. And let's be honest, the Giants didn't seem to want to use Tyrone. They want to use Turbo Miller last year. So you might as well go ahead and give another kid a chance. I don't know what the turbo issue was, but the issue is definitely there. So, all righty. One last running back. And this is a tale of 2 running backs within 1 running back. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. This was the guy coming into this year was up there with Genty. Like, that's how well thought of he was after last year. And you ever see someone fall on their face? This is the football equivalent of that. That's basically what happened. Ollie Gordon II, Oklahoma State, 6'2", 225 pounds, 21 years old, from Fort Worth, Texas. In 2022, 308 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then 23 was his breakout year, guys. 12 games, I'm sorry, well, I got the wrong stats there. I'm going to 24. 23, 1,732 yards and 21 touchdowns, guys. That is an insane amount. He's a Doak Walker Award winner, Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award winner, unanimous All-American, Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, first team All Big 12. Like, literally, you name an award, basically, and he got it. Now, this past season, 12 games, 190 carries, 880 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, 13 touchdowns, 29 catches, 179 yards receiving, and 1 touchdown, a 75.8 PFF grade. He went from being one of the top 2-3 running backs in the entire world of college sports to being like a top 2-3 quarterback in the state of running back in the state of Oklahoma. Like, that's how the mighty have fallen.
I was gonna say how the mighty have fallen.
So the big thing for us now in this is which one is legit? The 23 version, the 24 version, or somewhere in between?
Probably somewhere in between.
Probably. But what side does he lean towards? And that's part of what it goes into. Now, Oklahoma State, for the record, guys, had an absolutely horrendous offense this year. No passing game to speak of. Offensive line was horrible. And a lot of people blaming that on what happened for Gordon. That just basically stacked the box and went, okay, we're going to stop the one guy we have to be worried about. But was that the whole problem? I don't know. But it's a whole lot of fun to watch. He's great in space. And he was the complete package in 23. See, like I said, you really got to spend much more time than we're going to spend. We're talking about 30 running backs. You got to spend a whole lot more time than just the hour or so we can give per player here to watch. And watch a lot of film of this kid and see which one you think he is. Honestly, like I said, the middle. I'm with you. He's got to be somewhere in the middle there. I think rounds 3, 4. I think there's going to be a love-hate thing with him. I think some people will have him off their board entirely because of this year, and I think other people will move him up on their board because they go, "Look, what we could get." We can get a sleeper pick.
And I also think that at some point in like the third round, fourth round, someone goes, "How's this kid still on the board? Let's take this shot."
Yeah. I said, someone's going to do it. It needs a running back. It says, you know what? Let's take the risk. So, we'll see what that is there. All righty. Let's do this. Let's do our final running back ranking here. We've gone through now 30 running backs between the last 2 episodes we did here. It's a lot of running backs, guys. It's a lot of running backs. Rob, you want to alternate?
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's do it snake style like that. No kidding. We'll just do back and forth. I'll let you go first, even.
Ooh, of course we're gonna have to go with.
Hold on. We have to talk. Are we gonna start top to bottom or bottom to top? Are you a bottom guy or a top guy?
Yeah, I take what I can get. I do not judge. But let's start from the bottom and work our way to the top.
He is a bottom guy.
Well, sometimes you gotta switch it up. Yeah. But we're kind of down a little bit. So we're gonna have to go with Corey Keener from Cincinnati.
Corey Kiner.
Keener.
Number 30 there he is. Number 29, Montrell Johnson Jr. out of Florida.
Number 28, Jaden Blue from Texas.
Number 27, Woody Marks, USC.
Number 26, Marcus Yarge from Delaware.
Number 25, Phil Maffa out of Clemson.
Number 24, Jaquandon Jackson from Arkansas.
I spelled it out phonetically for you. It's right there. Jaquindon.
He's going to come on the show and tell me that I was right.
He's going to come on the show just to yell at you. 23, DJ Giddens, Kansas State.
Ooh. Number 22, Taj Brooks, Texas Tech.
Oh, I just realized my number 20 is for you. Good luck with that one. 21, Quinn Allen out of Syracuse.
Number 20, Kyle Munungai from Rutgers.
Number 19, Donovan Edwards, Michigan.
Number 18, Robert Harvey, otherwise known as RJ Harvey from UCF.
Number 17, Jordan James, Oregon.
Number 16, Brashard Smith, SMU.
Number 15, Trevor Etienne, Georgia.
Ooh, the Etienne guy.
Georgia.
Number 14, Khalil Mulligans. Oh my God, I can't talk.
Mulligan, you need a mulligan of that one.
I need a mulligan of that one.
Khalil Mullins. Out of Michigan, which, let's be very frank, we probably have him much higher than anybody else will ever have him. This is a long-term ranking for the record, guys. There's people below him that'll look much better next year. Number 13, Damian Martinez, Miami.
Ooh, number 12, Raheem Sanders, South Carolina.
Number 11, Bashul Tutin out of Virginia Tech.
Number 10,
took one for
you. Gordon. Oh, thanks. The second, Oklahoma State.
Ollie. Oli. He's the Oli man.
Oli.
I swear you're just messing with me at this point.
Yeah.
Number 9, Devin Neal out of Kansas.
Oh, you got the hard ones there. Jaquince Hunter, number 8. Out of
Are you even looking at the words? Wait, you're just epic with me. Oh my God. Jarquez Hunter. Killing me. Number 7, Cameron Scadabo out of Scadabo. You got that one. Out of Arizona State.
Number 6, Dylan.
You're saying it right. You know how to say this one.
Oh, come on. Dalen Sampson out of Tennessee.
Say Dalen now. You're killing me. Number 5, Treveyon Henderson, Ohio State.
Number 4, Caleb Johnson, Ohio.
Number 3, Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State.
Number 2,
You stop.
Oh, Armin
Oh,
Hampton.
stop. Marty and
North
Hampton, North Carolina. I'm just taking over at this point. People wonder why we don't let you talk. Number 1, Ashton Genty out of Boise State. So, guys, that's our top 30. Like I said, I do think that these guys all will get drafted at some point. This is going to be a very heavy running back draft. So, keep an eye out for it there. All right, that's going to call it a night for us here, guys. Tomorrow, barring us signing Aaron Rodgers and adding more to the quarterback room, which I don't see happening, we'll be talking about tight ends. Rob's favorite thing. We just found out he's a bottom guy. He really loves tight ends.
We're go top. I go wherever you need me.
Well, not wherever I need you. I don't need you anywhere. I'm good, thank you. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do a tight end talk here, and then Monday we'll get into wide receivers, and then we'll start talking offensive line from there and get through the rest of the offense there, so we can get you guys all ready for the rest of the NFL draft here. Again, if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button, guys. We'll be live again, like I said, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter/X, and of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. And again, of course, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms. It's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all the big ones there. So if you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button. Tell a friend about the show, guys, because point blank, without anybody helping us share this, no one's watching. That's not very fun. Let's see. Real quick, also, Connor was asking about Madden when they stop adding new guys. They stop right around the playoffs. So you're not going to get, unless you get a custom roster for Madden, you're not going to get the ability to have like Russell Wilson, the Giants, and stuff like that there. So that's what you got to do. All righty. Easy enough, guys. But we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Appreciate you guys for watching as always. And as always, Giant fans, go Giants! Gotta move!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.